Tonight on The Edge, a Detroit rapper is going viral for something other than her music.
Fans know her as Dank Demoss, and they're fuming after a Lyft driver allegedly denied her a ride because of her size. And Fox News' Jessica Dupnick is live in Detroit with this story. And my goodness, tell us how this all unfolded here, Jessica.
Well, it all unfolded on video. Deja Banlane whipped out her phone when this all happened. Now, the Lyft driver, he was kind enough and apologetic, but refused her a ride and said that she would not fit and that her weight couldn't be handled by his tires. Now she's filing a lawsuit.
Have you been in cars that size before?
Yes, I have. I've been in cars smarter than that, you know.
Deja Blanding tells us she was just trying to get to a Detroit Lions watch party this month when her Lyft rolled up.
As I'm walking, I see him like making faces or whatever. I'm like, oh man.
She already knew.
I can fit in this car.
Believe me, you can.
Yes, I can.
Believe me.
He told her there's not enough room in his car.
The kicker part was when he started to talk about his tires. You know, I feel like that was a slap in the face. That was like my tires, you know, like.
The driver said his tires could not handle her weight.
For every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car?
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL.
No, I don't never have to order Uber XL.
He apologized, canceled the ride, and left her there. The rapper says she's pretty tough. Dank Demoss, as she's known at the mic, is crushed by the whole situation.
I just want them to know, like, it really hurt my feelings.
It looks like a Lyft might be hurting pretty soon, too.
I knew it was illegal, and I knew that it was wrong.
Her attorneys, John Marco and Zach Runyon, say weight is a protected characteristic in Michigan by law.
It would be no different than a driver pulling up and saying, you know, I don't want to have black people in my car, or I don't want to have Christians in my car, or Muslims in my car. It's the same. Under the law, it's the same.
The lawsuit is filed. Since she posted the encounter on social media, other full-figured folks have reached out saying the same thing happened to them.
I can fit in this car.
Believe me, you can.
Yes, I can. I really want people to see, like, what we go through as bigger people, you know?
Now, I know a lot of what I have to say is going to piss people off, but it is what it is in that regard. But let me ask you a question, though. You really think that she can get into a vehicle and reach her two arms forward and grab the steering wheel without the rest of her body intruding or preventing her from operating the vehicle safely? Because if you think that, you're kidding yourself. You know, I was taught in life that things may not be 100% your fault, but they are 100% your problem. And this is definitely a situation of a you problem and not a me problem. And you're trying to turn a you problem into an everybody else problem, which is why you taking Lyft in the first place. Now, I know a lot of people probably want to ignore this fact, but the reality is that cars have weight limits when it comes to passengers. And for me personally, this was something that I found out the hard way by once upon a time putting 1,000 pounds into a car that had a maximum weight limit of 650 pounds. And so I ended up having to take a lot of that stuff out of the car and make multiple trips. Now, in this situation, he's not going to be able to divide her up and make multiple trips. So looking at the type of car that he's driving, like even compared to the car that I'm driving now, I drive a full-size family sedan, and the maximum weight limit of that car is 850 pounds. And so from what I'm hearing online, they're saying that her weight is somewhere in the vicinity of 500 pounds. And considering that, you know, I have a friend who is around 340 pounds herself, and I'm looking at this girl and she's like markedly bigger than her, then I'm willing to believe that she is in that weight range. And so when you add her weight up with the weight of the driver, if he's in a vehicle that has a 650 pound maximum capacity, then her getting into the car is going to put a lot of stress onto the shocks, is going to put a lot of stress onto the tires, the transmission even, or the engine possibly. And so I know a lot of people feel like he shouldn't have told her that he was canceling the ride because she was too big. But the reality is that she probably should have ordered an Uber XL, because trucks do have an ability to carry a larger weight load than a car does, right? So like, imagine this Friday night and you going out to kick it, and somebody tells you in whatever car it is that you driving right now that you got to go pick up Fat Joe and Big Pun and put both of them in your car at the same time. Now, the reality is that when you add in your weight plus their weight, the majority of cars that I can think of right now cannot handle that total weight capacity without stressing the vehicle out. So you're going to have to get a truck. So now me personally, like I said, with the car that I drive, the maximum weight limit is somewhere around 850 pounds. So if I pulled up for this ride, it wouldn't have been a problem for me to get her in the car and get her where she was going. But I would not necessarily want it to have concentrated that much weight in one spot. It is going to put stress on the rear passenger side, which is going to mess up the shock absorbers, which is probably going to put some stress on the rear sway bar end links. And then it's definitely going to put some stress onto the tires. And so a few years back, I learned how to do work on my own cars. And so it's not that big of a deal when it's time to do maintenance. I know how to do all of that stuff. And I know that shock absorbers only cost like $40 or $50 a piece. And I got all the tools that I need to change it out. But the majority of people have to pay for car repairs. And the average shop charges about $200 an hour when it comes to labor. And for a job like that, they're going to want to do both sides. So typically speaking, they're going to charge you for 2 to 3 hours plus the parts. You're going to end up paying like $700 just to get your shocks done. So for me, I feel like it didn't matter whether he told her that he was canceling the ride or not because she was too big. I feel like he was fucked the minute that he accepted this call, because he had to choose between potentially damaging his vehicle and needing expensive car repairs or having to pay a lawyer. So like recently, one of my cars was having trouble and I took it to a shop and they told me that it was going to need a new engine. And they told me that the engine was going to be damn near $6,000. Now for a situation like this, he's going to have to hire a lawyer, and he's probably going to need somewhere around at least $5,000 for those legal services. So in that regard, what's the difference? He was going to lose money from the minute that he accepted this call with her, because the reality is that if you put the car over the weight limit, you can stress out the engine and it can stress out the transmission, and it could do all type of damage to the suspension, right? And everybody doesn't own their car. So what if he's in a situation where he's still paying for his vehicle, and then he finds himself in a situation where he need a new transmission and he need a new engine? Now he got to go and roll over whatever's left on this loan into a new car loan, and you'll go from a situation where you in like a Ford Fusion and you paying like $400 a month, and then you accept this call from her, she get in your car, it fuck your engine up, and then now you got to go back to the dealership and roll that loan over, and you end up coming back in a Ford Focus and you still paying $400 a month. So I understand that weight is supposed to be a protected category, but we do have to accept that you get to a point where you are at a size that just makes it hard for you to participate in what I would call regular life activities, like potentially walking through a doorway, or like if you get on an airplane, you're going to be sitting in more than one seat. Like I remember back when I used to ride public transportation, if somebody like her was coming to sit down next to me, then more than likely the seats are not built in a way where she's going to be able to just take up one seat. So it's unfortunate that the result of this is, you know, you being able to file a lawsuit because you've made decisions that now the rest of us have to be punished for, in a sense. Because one of the things that irritates me the most nowadays is whenever somebody experiences discrimination, they try to compare it to what it's like to be black. And the reason why that irritates me is because I've never under any circumstance been able to change my blackness. So there was a time when I was a teenager and I was weighing over 250 pounds. I was being denied access because of my weight to certain things. And so I decided to lose weight. And once I lost that weight, I got access to some of those things that I was looking to gain access into. Now, by being black, I can recall walking into a bank and thinking to myself, I'm not going to get this loan because I'm black. And then I ended up leaving the bank without the loan. Now, to this day, there is no way for me to go and get that loan because there is no way for me to hide my blackness. So I was able to change my weight. I'm not able to change my race. So whenever I hear somebody talking about, oh, it's like discriminating against somebody because they black. No, it's not. It's a difference between being discriminated against for something that you can change And it's a difference between being discriminated against for something that you can't change. Now, at the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna like being discriminated against. But if you can stop yours and I can't stop mine, then at the end of the day, please know that I don't look at it like we're going through the same thing.
They're all saying the same thing. They're all criticizing her, scolding her, and saying things like she knew that she couldn't possibly fit in that car. So why didn't she order a larger car to begin with? And why is she suing? Because the Lyft driver was not at fault. And no, I don't think he was at fault either. But I want to defend her just because I don't think you're looking at this from all aspects. As a fat person, one of my biggest tools in my toolbox is the tool of denial. The tool of denial helps protect me. It protects me from believing I'm as big as I am. And I'm sure that happens to a lot of people that are obese. We don't want to see ourselves the way the world sees us. We want it to be prettier and thinner than what we really are. And reality is shocking and painful, and I don't want to live in that place. And it is easier to live there.
But that's it for this video. As always, make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment down below. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can get the alert when future content is posted. I'm your man, D Cannon. This is The Dust Up, and I'm out.